Hello and welcome back to the Offensive Line. We're your hosts, Hanson and Josh, back at it with another weekly Christian cliche. The one for this week is something many Christians say. In fact, I've said this one myself frequently. And it's not bad. In fact, it's biblical. But the reason why we're talking about it in this series is because many Christians say it without even realizing it. And that's when they say, Lord willing.
Interestingly enough, the use of this phrase has made it into the vocabulary of those who don't even ascribe to biblical Christianity. It's sort of like when some people say something, but then they knock on wood or other superstitions. So there are some people who say, Lord willing, just to make sure nothing will go wrong with what they have planned. With Christians though, there is a pretty different meaning.
Just look at James 4, where James speaks out against the businessmen in verse 13. He says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, and spend a year there and engage in business and make a profit." Instead, in verse 15, he says they should say, "If the Lord wills, we will live and also do this or that." So when a Christian says Lord willing, it should be expressing our intent to do something with an understanding that God is sovereign.
But even though we see these two very different uses of the phrase, both Christians and non-Christians sometimes tack it on to the end of a sentence without much thought. And that's why we wanted to do a video on this, because it's something Christians can say without actually thinking it through. If we look at the verses in James 4, we see that the purpose of his calling out these businessmen is to point out their arrogance and confidence in themselves.
In the middle of the two verses we looked at, James 4:14 says, "Yet you do not know what your life will be like tomorrow. You are just a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes away." Basically, you cannot know what the next day will bring because life is short and fragile like vapor in the wind. Christians should be keenly aware that we need God's help and grace in everything that we do.
James isn't saying that Christians can't make plans for the future. In fact, we see elsewhere that Jesus says, "For which one of you, when he wants to build a tower, does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if he has enough to complete it?" Now, the point of Jesus saying that is for a different reason, which is the cost of discipleship, but still, there's nothing wrong with making plans for the future.
But our plans should be made with the awareness that God could change our plans. Proverbs 16:9 says, "The mind of a man plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." We plan with the understanding that God's wisdom and ways are far above ours. So while we do not know what tomorrow will bring, God does. We can trust not only in his sovereignty where he is in complete control, but also his goodness.
Romans 8:28 says that God causes all things to work together for good, to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. So Christians know this and can intend this when using this phrase. But sometimes what happens is that we forget to pray expectantly. For example, we're currently planning for our summer short-term missions trips, right?
That's right. I'm planning the one for a missions trip to Italy, and Josh here is planning the one for our missions trip to Utah. We actually did a short video about Utah missions last year, where you can check out here. But as we're planning, we're doing so prayerfully, right Josh?
Yeah. We're doing so with the full expectation that this is God's will for us to do missions. We're praying for our teams to be unified, for us to be an encouragement to the churches over there, and for the gospel to be shared, because we expect these things to happen. God has clearly told us that he desires for those things to happen. They might not happen in exactly the way we planned for, but they will happen.
The problem some Christians have is that they don't pray with this full expectation. They're almost hesitant in their planning and their prayers that go along with that planning. It's like they're walking on eggshells in their prayers or something. See, there's nothing wrong with saying, Lord willing, if what we mean is that God can accomplish much more than what we expect in ways we might not have planned for. At the same time though, praying with expectation. If you don't happen to say Lord willing in your prayers, then that's fine.
Hopefully, that was another encouraging video for you. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, make sure to do so. We're almost at 200 subscribers. We're not here just for the views, but the more subscribers we have, the more people will be able to watch and benefit from our content. If you found this video helpful, spread the word. As soon as you finish watching this video, share it with friends and family, whoever you think would benefit from this. And leave a comment down below with your thoughts. We are the Offensive Line, and we're uncomplicating the complicated. And we'll see you next week.
Back at it. Back at it. Back at it.
Again. Back at it again.
It's your boy.